What's good, guys? Fantasy Joe back here with my Week 5 wide receiver rankings, half-point PPR as always. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you want to beat your friends and family in fantasy football and bring home that fantasy title, I give you all the information to do so. Weekly rankings, if you have any start-sit questions, I got you guys. Any trade questions, I got you guys in the comments down below. I respond to all comments. Hit that like button, really helps out the algorithm. And I have waiver wire videos, as well as all the other stuff you need, like takeaways, like buy low, sell highs, all that good stuff. But yeah, hit that like button, hit up the comments, really helps me out. But let's hop into this video. So number one, I've got Justin Jefferson this week. He plays Kansas City. Not going to spend a ton of time with these top guys. You're playing them and they're studs. 2, Tyreek Hill, he plays the Giants. I think he is in a really good matchup. We saw what they did, what the Seahawks were able to do to them, and you just hope that that game can stay close enough that Hill can keep producing for you for fantasy in the second half. Davante Adams' revenge game for him against Green Bay. I think he'll have a big game regardless of who suits up for quarterback for them. Stefon Diggs, he plays Jacksonville, coming off a monster week. I think he's just a little bit more steady than some of these other guys. That's why he's a little bit higher than them. But like A.J. Brown plays the Rams this week. Really, I'm not scared of any matchup for a lot of these guys. Kupp, I think he's going to be back, and if he plays Philly, you're playing him, and I think he's a top 6 option. The only reason he isn't higher, honestly, in this matchup is just you want to see, how he's going to be utilized. Is it going to be full bore? What's going to be like if he even plays this week? But if he's playing, I'm playing him, and I'm playing with confidence. 7, CeeDee Lamb plays San Francisco. This is a game that could actually be, somewhat close for the Dallas Cowboys, so I think it actually helps CeeDee Lamb. Obviously, it's a tough defense, but their secondary isn't crazy. Amon-Ra St. Brown has been awesome this year. He plays Carolina. You're still playing him. Deebo Samuel against Dallas. He's had great games against them in the past. It wasn't a great game for him last week. And I think Ayuk is going to be really good for them the rest of the season, but I'm still playing Deebo Samuel in this game with confidence. 10, Jamar Chase. He plays Arizona. I think you could adjust your expectations for Chase, but you're still putting him out in your lineups, especially in this matchup. And, the greasy wheel gets the oil, or not the greasy wheel, I guess they already have oil, but the squeaky wheel, I said the greasy wheel, wow. The greasy wheel has the oil, so he has not been greased. He's got to get greased, and he's going to get greasy this weekend. Puka Nucua plays Philly. I think you can still play him whether Kupp plays, and if he doesn't, then he's an absolute smash play. 12, Brandon Ayuk. He's looked phenomenal this season. Really, really, really good. He's a top 12 wide receiver in fantasy football this year, despite missing basically 1.5 games so far, and plays Dallas this week, where they might have a better game script in that second half for once. 13, Devonta Smith is playing the Rams. He's an absolute stud. 14, Jalen Waddle. I know the times have been rough. He was my number 1 buy low. Both these guys, Jalen Waddle and Michael Pittman Jr., to me are big buy lows. Good matchups for them coming up, but I have full confidence in Waddle still moving forward. Michael Pittman Jr., except for this last week, has been heavily targeted. He's very involved in his offense. This is an awesome matchup for him against Tennessee. I would love to be adding him to my teams, and I'm definitely playing him this week. 16, Chris Olave against New England. He's just down a little bit farther on this list because I think there's a chance they try to take Olave out of that game, and we don't know exactly what their quarterback position is going to be like this upcoming week or the quality of it. So that's why he's a little bit farther down than typical. 17, this one's a bit of a rejection, but I believe in it. Terry McLaurin is playing Chicago this week. He looked back to himself, back to his old ways last week. This is a great matchup for him. I think you can play Terry with confidence. I think he's a wide receiver 2 rest of season. 18, Christian Watson. He plays Vegas this week. I know it wasn't exactly what you wanted last week. I still think he's an explosive player. I still think you should be playing him. And this is a really good matchup for him still. Okay, 19, Garrett Wilson. He plays Denver. A lot of people are a lot more confident in Garrett Wilson than I am this week. I still think he can have a good week. Zach Wilson showed signs of, some life last week. Denver's not a bad matchup, and he's a superb talent. But still, I want to see him have a really good week with Zach Wilson before I'm tossing him back up there and more than just one broken play as well. 20, Nico Collins. He's been fantastic so far this year. I'm not scared away by that Atlanta matchup, even though they got H.A. Terrell and some good corners. He does things with the ball in his hand and at the catch point that are difficult to stop, and C.J. Stroud just keeps looking his way. I think they'll move him around enough too. DJ Moore's coming off a phenomenal games last week. Really hasn't been too bad for fantasy, all things considered. With that Bears offense plays Washington this week, I think you can play him as a wide receiver too. Calvin Ridley, the targets have not been there, sadly. He plays Buffalo this week, though, so there should be a lot of throwing for them in the second half, I project. I really don't know what to do with Calvin Ridley. I do think things will get better. He only had 2 targets, I believe, this last week. I think he'll get more, but Not the type of usage you've been wanting. Hopefully when Zay Jones gets back, maybe he gets back on track in this offense. 23, Adam Thielen, he's been very involved. He plays Detroit. I think there'll be a lot of passing for Carolina in the second half of this football game. 24, Marquise Brown. He's been really good these last several weeks. He plays Cincinnati this week. I think you can play him. I'm starting to trust Josh Dobbs, and especially some of the fantasy options around him, so I think you play Marquise Brown against Cincinnati. I might even pick Arizona in that game, to be honest with you. It's a really close one to me. 25, DeAndre Hopkins. He plays Indy. It will help him a lot if Treylon Burks misses another week. We don't know if that'll happen, but I think either way, I think you can play Hopkins. They looked really good in that play-action game. I think they'll come out and try to do more of the same this week. 26, George Pickens. He plays Baltimore. Don't think there's a super big difference between him, Kenny Pickett, and Trubisky. In the past, Pickett's looked for Pickens a little bit more than Trubisky has, but I'm still playing George Pickens, and you just got to hope that, he is the one he's getting the target, so. And he's talented, so. A lot of so's there. So. 27, Zay Flowers. He plays Pittsburgh. I think he'll have a bounce-back week. This is a great matchup for him. He's been heavily targeted almost every week, except for this last one. I think he'll get it going. Guy I'd love to throw a dart on in waivers, especially in daily, especially a lot of those are PPR games, and he catches a lot of passes. Jacoby Myers plays Green Bay this week. I think the way to attack them is the slot, and I think that he is a good receiver, and really that offense is kind of consolidated in Davante Adams, Jacoby Myers, and Josh Jacobs. So I really like all three options. Romeo Doubs, he's been heavily targeted this season. Jordan Love's loved him. This is a good matchup. I don't see a situation where you're not rolling out Romeo Doubs if you were really ever going to play him this week. 30, Gabe Davis plays Jacksonville. He's been really good, done a lot of it on the back of touchdowns. This is a game that could be more high-scoring, though, than people think. Hopefully, for Gabe Davis owners, Jacksonville doesn't come out and lay down like a dog. Hopefully they fight and make this a game. And Josh Allen's throwing well into the second half. 31, Christian Kirk. He plays Buffalo. He's been heavily targeted 2 out of the last 3 weeks. With Zay Jones back, we'll like to see how that turns out. But I do think Christian Kirk's been too good for them to just go completely away from. Speaking of a guy that went completely away, Jordan Addison did almost nothing last week. But in this week against Kansas City, they're going to have to throw. And I'm firing up Addison. Tank Dell, they play Atlanta. I know it wasn't great last week. I still believe in the Stroud connection. I still believe he's a good talent, though, and I'm rolling him out there. Tyler Boyd for Arizona, or for the Cincinnati Bengals. They're playing Arizona this week. Who knows if Higgins plays? Even if he does, I expect him to be compromised. And especially with this quick passing game, I think Boyd will be more used. I think he'll get around 8 targets in this contest. Guy you could play, 35, Jerry Jeudy plays the Jets. I do believe he's a wide receiver you want to own on this team, although I think it's very close. And honestly, I like the town of Marvin Mims. But if you're playing somebody this week, I think it would be Jerry Jeudy. And 36, Michael Thomas as the Saints take on New England. Thomas has been heavily targeted just about every week but one, and he still was involved. So I think you can roll him out there and just hope the quarterback position is better off of this week. If you guys have made it to this point in the video, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you have any questions or comments, drop them in the comment section down below. I'll respond as always. Any start sits, trade advice, anything like that, I got you guys. This has been Fantasy Joe. Thank you guys for watching.